Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Joining us on the line now is one of the two winners of last year's series. He's actually the youngest ever winner of the show, Alfie Watts. How are you, Alfie?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's really great to chat with you. And congratulations. I know it was a year ago, but you won. I mean, it still must feel pretty amazing.
Yeah, every time I watch the moment back, it kind of takes you back to that day in Indonesia, and it never gets old. It really doesn't, and it's still really hard to kind of take in when people say congratulations, because I'm like, I still don't believe that we did it. But yeah, it was fantastic. Best moment of our lives, without doubt.
Oh, and also being the youngest winner, pretty incredible. The two of you young lads doing it, proving that you don't have to have that wisdom and experience in order to win the show and make the right choices and decisions along the way.
Yeah, and I think that was something that we were really, really hot on going into the show, is that we kind of wanted to, we obviously knew that we had an opportunity to showcase not only our skills and our knowledge and things like that to the wider community, but also just the inspire young people that, you know, you often do get looked down on by other people, but yeah, that was just our main thing, to kind of do other young people proud and do ourselves proud.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people were rooting for you because, yes, you were competitive, and most of the teams are, but you somehow did it in a nice way. You know, some people can be quite backstabby sometimes, but I think everyone was going, yeah, go on, guys, you know, really rooting for you. Did you know that? Were you aware of that at the time?
We just didn't want to. We're both very sporty. Owen comes from a rugby background, so everything is very, very sportsmanlike. We felt that when we were at our best, we were the best team, and that we didn't need to do anything silly or, you know, play any games to win. We tried to be ourselves, and thankfully it worked.
Yeah, absolutely. So you kind of caught the traveling bug, didn't you, doing the show, and have kind of carved out a new career as a bit of a travel guru. Tell us about what you've been up to since.
So I think I'd always had the travel bug, and Race Across the World basically gave me the opportunity to unleash that. And obviously winning massively helped. I think it massively helped kind of the public interest, and it kind of kept people it kept me in people's minds for a lot longer. And obviously then the £10,000 could kind of go into the kind of travel stuff, which is basically what I did. I came off the show and I invested the money that we won into experiences and equipment, and then kind of putting all that on the internet. And then thankfully at the back end of last year, everything started to pay off, and yeah, I've never looked back. It's fantastic.
Oh, brilliant. Because you're putting on loads of great videos with advice for other people, lots of things to do with like traveling on a budget. I know it's your aim to visit every country, which is fantastic. How have you done so far?
Well, we're up to 82 or 83 now, so a long way off. But yeah, like that's definitely a long-term goal of mine, because more people have been to space than been to every country in the world. So it's a very select few people that get to do that, and I feel like I'm in a really fantastic position to be able to do it. So it's definitely the long-term goal.
Brilliant. And you're doing a lot of it on your own. You like traveling on your own then?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's a need rather than a want, but particularly when I say that I'm going to places like, you know, Chad, I have a queue of people waiting to come with me on that one. But it's nice for me. I enjoy my own company. I feel like I work better in my own company, but the time when I'm kind of happiest traveling is when I'm with my mates, and that's still true.
Oh, nice. And yeah, in terms of going to places like Chad, I mean, there's obviously lots of countries in the world that can be seen as quite dangerous and difficult to get into, and not exactly typical tourist destinations. Are there countries that you're concerned about going to?
Yeah, there are. And I answer this question a lot because a lot of people say that they find it irresponsible, or particularly because of my platform and I guess my association sort of with BBC and the Race Across the World. I do need to be really careful, and just kind of traveling in general, you need to be careful. I just think the further out you go from the tourist trail, the more kind of precautions you need to take in place. You need to get better travel insurance. You need to make sure that you are up to date with vaccinations. You know, if you're going to Cape Town and things like that, you can get away with not having some of the jabs that you need to have to go to Africa and things like that. But the more risks you start taking, the more kind of mitigations that you need to bring in. So it's just about, you know, it can never be 100% safe, but for me, I believe all that I've ever experienced from the people is just kindness, and that's what I believe it is on the ground, even in some of the most kind of war-torn places in the world. I don't believe that there's a single country where every person is not nicely minded.
Oh, definitely. And in terms of other challenges that you've done, you did 5 countries in one day, didn't you? What was that about?
That was just a fun little exhibition that DFDS challenged me to. Just wanted to see how many I could get to. Everyone in the comments was telling me how I could have done Luxembourg and Liechtenstein in the same day. And I was like, well, to be honest, I was quite happy with 5 in a day, but, you know.
Well, there's always people sat at home on their sofas ready to have their little comments, aren't they?
Yes.
It's all jealousy. So. It's all jealousy. That's what it is. And also, you're always looking into kind of cheaper ways of travel, which is interesting for people to hear more about. You did another challenge where you found and boarded the cheapest possible flights you could find online for 7 days straight. Tell us about that.
So that was again, like another little challenge. I wanted to basically see how far you'd end up away from the UK if you just booked the cheapest flight from wherever you were each day. And the only rule was that you couldn't go to a country. I couldn't go to a country that I'd already been to, because what we'd have basically done is we'd have just hopped between 2 places every day. And yeah, I think with that, we just kind of opened people's eyes to the variety of destinations that people can get to on a budget, because I think for the whole thing we did a loop and spent probably, I think, about £250 on flights across the week. But we went to Cyprus, we went to Poland, we went to Armenia, we went to Abu Dhabi, we went to Budapest, and we went to Rome as well. And I think just all of those things, basically, when you look at that, just for that amount of money, I think it was just really nice for people to see that it is possible. And at the last minute as well. Yeah,
definitely. Do you think a lot of people tend to get stuck in their ways when it comes to travel and stick to what they know, as opposed to doing a bit of research, trying to find something a little bit different that could actually end up being cheaper than what they're used to?
I think I'm always very mindful about kind of criticising people's travel choices, particularly because I'm in a massive position of privilege. Like, I get to do this. If I go somewhere and I don't like it, for me, it's fine. I can put that down as a business expense. You know, I know that I'll go away again. But for some people, like, going away is a big, big thing for them. And so I understand why people keep it safe, because people work a long time and they want to put their money into just enjoying somewhere. And if people want to just go to Malaga because they know they'll like the food and they'll get the sun and things like that, then I'm not anyone to judge that. There are cheaper options. There are better options. But also, I've been in the position where I've had a budget and I've just gone, do you know what? I actually just want to go somewhere where I know that I'm going to enjoy this. And so I think the answer is yes and no. I think people are missing out, but I don't think it's for the want of trying. I think it's just for the want of wanting to stay safe.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But you talk about the interesting comparison between staying more local to the UK, if that's where people are from, going to the likes of France, Italy, Spain, Greece, the places that they know that might be obviously cheaper flights than somewhere further afield, but going to certain places in Asia particularly, even though the flights can be maybe twice the price as some places in Europe, accommodation and food is so much cheaper. So it can end up being a cheaper holiday in total.
And that is probably my number one budget travel tip, particularly when we're talking about, you know, summer holidays, because if you book any flight to any holiday destination in August, it's going to be £300-400. It just, you know, Tenerife flights are £300. I mean, if you go in off season, they're sometimes like £30 one way. But if you go in August, you're going to be spending a high amount of flights anyway. what Europe are doing now is they're dynamically pricing their restaurants and things like that. So as soon as July and August hit, they'll bring out a new menu with new prices because they know that there's going to be Brits coming. Spain have got it completely sussed. They know how to basically rinse Brits because they know that 3 million people come every summer or whatever the number is. And for me, it's just thinking about, yes, flights to Thailand at that time of year are going to be £900 return. But the way that you can live and eat in virtual luxury for probably less than sort of £80 a day, you can easily get a 5-star hotel and, you know, eat really, really well for £80 to £100 a day in Thailand. You get fantastic beaches, you get the weather. I just think that in an age where particularly Europe is catching on to dynamic pricing, I just think that costs of holidays overall are going up massively, and a way to mitigate that is actually by trying other places.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And something that I read and saw a video that you did on your Instagram, which I thought was amazing. For people who saw the show last year, one of the things that happened is you and Owen were really desperate to try some Kobe beef, which is obviously really famous and can be quite pricey. And when you were in Kobe, the guy in the restaurant didn't charge you, which was amazing, which helped you massively with your budgeting. So you've gone back and paid him. You
know what? It was that was just a really, really, and it was so weird because it was actually my friend that suggested this to me because we were going through Japan, and he was like, "Oh, we should go to Kobe, and then you should do this." I was like, "It's such a good idea. It's such a really, really awesome kind of full circle moment." And yeah, it was such. He was really appreciative, and even though he didn't speak, you know, a word of English, it was nice for him to see that he'd made it on TV, and then the whole moment of us paying. And he really didn't want to accept the money, but it was by that point, I was doing it on a point of principle. It's a habit.
Yeah, he really didn't want it, did he? And you're like, no, you have to.
Yes.
Oh, nice. And
I was like, please, I've come all this way, just take it off me.
We're filming.
Yes.
And in terms of other kind of highlights or moments from your experience on the series last year, are there any particular moments that stand out for you, apart from winning at the end, obviously?
I just think it's, you know, all the people that you meet along the way, and there's so many people that we've kind of forgotten about, so many kind of jobs that we did. It really just is and it feels like every year the teams come out and say the exact same things. You know, it's the people you meet, it's the kindness of people. It is so true though. When you're there and, you know, all of a sudden someone offers to pay for your bus tickets that sure might only be £6. Those are just the moments that you think, thank God for that, because we'd have been really stuck without you. And it is just those kind of little moments, and even the ones that don't get shown on the show, it's just, we have that forever. And those moments are really special for us.
Yeah. And for anyone who hasn't seen the show, you're missing out. You have to watch it because it's absolutely brilliant. But just to describe kind of what happens, so you've got people working in pairs, whether they're family members, friends or whatever. You can't travel. You're each given a limited cash budget. You can't travel by air. You've got no access to smartphones, no bank cards, and you have to make your way from point to point. And how difficult is that? Because you have to make some serious choices. Everybody picks a different route and different ways of doing it. And some people luck out and some people really don't.
The element of luck is one thing that's really not considered on Race Across the World. It really isn't. And I think this is... in the press, I don't think it's talked about enough, that you have to be so lucky to do well on that show, because, I mean, like, the classic example is the first episode of this series. Caroline and Tom thought that the best thing to do would be to go to Beijing because most transport out. But actually, what they didn't realise is that everything in Beijing gets booked up a day in advance. So yes, there's loads and loads of stuff, but when you're needing to move quickly, they got stuck in Beijing and are suddenly a day behind the race on leg one. Because, and how is anyone meant to know that? It really, sometimes you just luck out. Me and Owen thought that going to Mount Fuji would be a really smart thing to do because we knew there was a bus connection straight to checkpoint. We get there, it's sold out for 2 days. And that's, everyone gets that luck, and that's why it levels out at the end. But the luck on Race Across the World is the most frustrating part, because just when you think you've done the right thing, luck just comes and says, no.
And do you have a favourite leg in general with all the bits you did last year?
Weirdly, my favourite leg was the one that we finished last in, because we just basically went on holiday for a week. We went and saw some elephants in Thailand. We went whitewater rafting. We just had a great time, and then got to the checkpoint 15 hours after everyone else. And yeah, but now that I look back on it, and now that we won, that was worth it because we had such a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And with regards to this year, this season, I don't know if you have any favourites yet. I'm loving watching the two older brothers and seeing their relationship develop, and that's one of the other parts of the show, seeing the relationship of the two people that are travelling together, because obviously there can be really testing moments, particularly with family members or couples, and arguments. You know, one wants to do one thing, the other wants to do the other, and I think these older brothers are really kind of rekindling a whole relationship and things, which is really nice.
I love watching them because it's like watching two adults relive their childhood, and you can really see it within them that they're enjoying the fact that they're spending time, and they've lived such different lives. You know, one of them's become really, really well off and now lives in luxury, and they just have so much appreciation for each other, even though they've gone on such different paths. And a lot of people I see criticise the kind of story element of Race Across the World. They say, that we focus too much on them. It's not a travel blog. That's not what the show is. The show is about the journeys that the people go on and the places that they see. And that is why personally I love the show so much, because I think that it has that reality TV element, but it's kind of sugar-coated in a way that makes the beautiful surroundings and everything bring out that realness in people. And Brian and Melvin are my favourites so far, without doubt. I think they're hilarious, but I do think that Elizabeth and Letitia will be champions at the end. Yeah,
they're doing amazing, aren't they? And the fact that one of them speaks Mandarin has been an incredible advantage, hasn't it, in China? Yeah. And I can't believe that people criticise the relationship side of things of the programme, because I think that adds a massive part to it. I mean, James and Betty last year, seeing their relationship, that was some of the highlights, when James asked the cameraman to hug him. I mean, that was a real moment, wasn't it, that went viral.
And you don't get those moments if you just watch 10 people, race around different parts of the world. Like, you have to have that kind of context and that background, and it's why people fall in love with the show, because you have moments like that resonate with people at home. And people have stories that, Finn this year with his diabetes, there'll be young people with type 1 diabetes who will now think, oh my God, I can go travel the world. And even though that might not make the world of difference to 99.99999% of the viewers, it's those few viewers that do relate to that actually makes it so much, that makes those stories so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I read that your favourite place that you've been on all your travels so far is Angel Falls in Venezuela. Is that right?
It is, yeah.
And why is that?
I just cannot believe that it's on our planet. And it's just one of those things. It's so far, like getting there is such a pain in the neck. You have to fly into the Amazon rainforest, then you have to take a 6-hour banana boat through rivers and riptides and God knows what, and then you just do this hour-long hike, and it's just there. And it's one of those things where you do all this work to get there, and then it's just magnificent. It's so tall. It's unbelievable. I loved, that's one of my favourite days ever travelling, was the day that we got to Angel Falls. It was just remarkable.
Oh, amazing. So it really takes your breath away once you get there.
Yeah.
Wow. And in terms of the place that you'd most like to visit, that's at the top of your list?
Yeah, so again, this was probably documented in the article that you read as well. I really have an absolute fascination for the Pacific for a few reasons. One, because I find it absolutely incredible that people can just live in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of the Ring of Fire, and they just deal with whatever life throws at them. Like, their houses sink. I just find that incredible. So I really want to visit Tuvalu, which is the least visited country in the world. And the other reason why I have a real passion for the Pacific is because it has some of the poorest areas in the world, and it's never ever spoken about. And so I really, really want to sort of over the next couple of years show everyone the realities of what people are living through in the Pacific, and how actually tourism to the Pacific is some of the most beautiful tourism you can do. You will never see beaches like it anywhere else. French Polynesia has caught on, but none of the others have. And so I really, really want to show people the magic of the Pacific, but also the hardship that people go through.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Well, I look forward to seeing your videos in Tuvalu in a few years' time. And I have a little kind of poster on my wall in the downstairs loo that says, "Travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer," which I think is such a lovely phrase. And I think you're kind of proving that and showing that and feeling that on a daily basis. I mean, I assume you sort of want to encourage everybody to travel and see the world more if they can. I'm really going to kind of, particularly over the next few years, I'm really going to try and go hard on people doing gap years and not just going to Southeast Asia, because I think, and, you know, I was in Malaysia last year whilst all the riots in the UK were happening, and Malaysia actually issued a terrorism warning for the UK. And I was on TV in Malaysia that morning and they asked me about it. And I just said, I don't recognise the UK. And if they came to other parts of the world, they'd have so much more kind of empathy. And I just think it's so important that we learn about different people. And the only way to do that really is by immersing yourself in these places. I'm not saying that everyone needs to do what I do and go to every country in the world. And I'm not actually saying that everyone needs to kind of authentically travel. You know, even if people just kind of experiment a bit more with their holidays and see the realities of what people are living through in Thailand and Vietnam, I just think it will create such a more tolerant and happier society. So I'm really going to try and encourage this next generation of people to go on a gap year, go and do some travelling, because it's becoming so affordable for everyone. And it's magic. It really is. Oh, definitely. And I hope business owners recognise it more. I was speaking to a friend the other day who owns a recruitment company and was really delighted to hear that when people come to him looking for a job and they've been on a gap year travelling, that's a real plus and a real bonus when they're looking to place them in jobs, which I think is brilliant. I think it's awful if it's frowned upon. Oh, you didn't go to university, you went travelling instead. I totally agree with you that there's so much to going travelling. And if business owners can see that as a bonus, then that would be great.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And if there are any business owners listening to this, I promise you the personal skills that young people pick up from going travelling are so much vaster, so much better than the skills that they pick up from just sitting at university for 3 years. The way you learn to conduct yourself around people, your communication skills from talking to people in different languages and things like that. Life skills so much more invaluable. And that's the way that the world's going. We need those skills now. And that's what I believe travel gives you. Yeah,
definitely. Well, Alfie Watts, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you. And if people want to follow your journey and all the fun things that you're up to and all the recommendations that you can give us all, what's the best way for people to do that?
You can follow me. It's just my name on all social media platforms, Alfie Watts. And if you do follow, I hope you enjoy the journey. I'm having a great time doing what I'm doing, and it's great to bring people along with me.
Alfie, thanks so much for being with us on Talk Radio Europe.
Thank you for having me, Hannah. I really appreciate it.